The October 15th, 2019 meeting of the Coastside County Water District Board of Directors to order. And Vice President Dickinson, could you please call?
Roll call?
Pledge allegiance. Roll call, sorry. Did I jump you?
Well, we're all here.
Sorry, Kara, you called the roll. You don't look like Joanne. So
I've been preparing myself all day for
That's why I
this.
cut it so close. I was watching it on the TV.
I mean, I've been doing this for so many years, and it just,
Director Larmer.
Here.
Vice President Michelson.
Here.
Director Feldman.
Here.
Director
I'm
Reynolds.
here.
And President Coverdale.
sort of here.
How styrofoam forms was my interest.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And may the best Democrats win.
I gotta keep you guys in line here.
No.
There's a whole pile of them. Sorry for that imperfection in my presidential duties. Public comment. I don't have any speaker slips, and I don't see any members of the general. Would you like to speak, anyone? Okay, because you
could.
reside here, so you could. Just saying. Consent calendar, the disbursements were reviewed by Director Larmer.
Looks fine.
Great. Anybody want to pull any items on the consent calendar?
Nope.
Entertain a motion for approval as presented.
So moved.
A second.
Gina?
Okay.
It's
Director Larmer.
been moved by Vice President Michelson, seconded by Director Feldman, that we approve the consent calendar as presented. Could
Okay.
you take the roll?
I sure can. Director Larmer. Vice
Yes.
President Michelson.
Yes.
Director Feldman.
Yes.
Director Reynolds and President Coverdale.
Yes, thanks. That was very efficient, by the way. Thank you. Thanks. Meetings attended or director comments. Do we have any? You've been to about 1 million meetings.
Yeah, well, let's just keep going.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay, we're going
thank
to
you.
slide on through. All right,
Yeah,
got
thank
it.
you.
Anybody else?
Oh, so, okay, I'll do mine at the end, how's that? Because there's a spot at the end for me to make an.
Yeah, that'd be
right.
great, yeah.
Okay, I'll do it then.
Okay, yeah. So general business, the first order of general business tonight is the approval of a professional services agreement with EKI Environmental and Water for pre-designed services for the replacement of water lines at Grandview Boulevard, Silver Avenue, Terrace Avenue, and Spindrift Way under Highway 1. And Mary, will you be taking it away
Yes, I'll be
tonight?
taking this.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the city of Half Moon Bay is currently in design for their Highway 1 North safety project. And what this involves is actually widening, so you'll have 4 lanes from Main Street to Grandview. And then there'll be a coastal trail on the east side of the highway from Main Street to Spindrift. There's going to be a signal put in at Terrace. So this is an $8 million project. And we have, we have some old pipes crossing underneath intersections on Highway 1. So we know that 3 of the pipelines are likely, they're put in the 60s probably, they're cast. We believe the pipeline at Terrace is ductile, but it's old also. It was put in the 70s. So, and we don't really know the condition of the pipes. So we're, what we would like to do, rather than just jump into thinking about replacement, we would like to assess what the condition of the pipes and whether we should be considering replacing and coordinating with the city's project that they're going to be doing in the next year or two.
So, looking at this, I did have a couple questions. When I see we're assuming what the pipes are. We recently put in the El Granada pipeline, somewhat recent. And when we tied those in, doesn't that indicate what size the pipeline was?
We, we don't have good records, and I don't, we think we know what we have, but.
And Alonto, part of the Alonto agreement, and
Yeah.
I squeezed it out of them personally, they replaced all the laterals on Terrace because of the anticipated heavy traffic. So we should know the condition of that pipe, and did they I don't recall if they replaced the main, or was it just the laterals?
Just the laterals.
Just the laterals, okay. But it still should, doing taps, we should know what the condition of, should tell us what the condition of the pipe is. And Darren, did you do the job?
I did. I did.
It was partially for you, it was partially for your benefit, so I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Terrace is all cast iron.
Okay. And the condition, do you recall?
Very poor.
Okay.
So we want to confirm that we're going to do some additional potholing and, under this agreement, and we'll verify, what we should be doing. AKI will offer a recommendation. We'll also map the existing utilities and develop and evaluate a conceptual, jack and bore replacements.
And I'm disappointed Steven's not here, because is he taking us for granted now?
He apologized.
Okay. Usually every time he's on the agenda, he's here.
Yeah, I did get I get a call. So this is kind of, first phase, let's evaluate what we have.
That's fine, thank you.
So, and we haven't really had issues with these pipes, but we are concerned that we don't want. that
Oh, no,
pipeline
absolutely
to
makes sense
blow
to,
up
before
things.
we put AC on top, we should make sure the pipe is good.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry.
Well, I had a question too.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious, they're gonna dig 12 holes, and we're gonna pay $20,000 for that. Is that enough for 12 holes? I mean, that's what they specify in their contract. And it's a time and material contract, so it's really not a fixed cost contract at all. It could cost a lot more.
So EKI is the engineering firm. So more likely, our team will dig the holes and they'll admire the pipe. Isn't that more likely
Is that
what's
how
gonna
it's gonna
happen?
work?
I mean, EKI is not gonna get a shovel and go out there and dig. They'd be like
So we're digging the
engineers.
holes?
They would typically pontificate and say, oh, where the pipe fell apart, bad pipe. That's how we would
Well,
do
then what
it.
are we buying here for $20,000 for
They're-
them to look at a
Their
hole?
assessment,
Yeah,
basically, I think.
So typically, the way this is done, and I don't want to speak for what EKI would do, but the way this is typically done is you pothole it, you expose it, you cut out like a 3-foot section of it, you put a piece of replacement pipe in with repair couplings. You take that piece out, and then you can see inside it. And if it's, for instance, if it's asbestos cement pipe, what you do is you put caps on both ends and you pressure test it, and then you cut it and you do a dye penetration test to see if it's decomposing. And so when the pipes are made, they're made to certain manufacturing test standards, and you can run the pipe through those original standards and see where they are in their life cycle. So when Alameda County Water District did this, they found that a bunch of their 50-year-old pipe still exceeded the new spec for that pipe. So they were able to actually push back their replacement schedule by 15 years because the pipe was still meeting new pipe standards. So I think this sort of work is
What was the
really
material
valuable.
there?
That was asbestos cement and steel pipe. And I was really uncomfortable about the steel pipe and the asbestos cement pipe. But both of them passed really well.
So, thank you for that, but, so what are we buying here? Are they gonna test the pipe after we cut it out? Are we digging the hole? Are they digging the hole? Who's doing what? It wasn't clear to me reading the contract.
They're going to dig the holes. They're going to hire somebody.
They're gonna dig the
Yes.
hole, and they're gonna test it. They're gonna cut a piece
Yes.
out like Glenn just
I
said.
don't think they're going to cut a piece out. There's no cutting pieces
We're
out.
paying them for that
Yes.
potholing and analysis. It says that it's the cost, you're right.
Yeah, that's originally how I
You're
read
correct.
it, and then
No,
I
you're
thought,
right.
gee, 12 holes.
So they're gonna
that's
dig,
less
they're
than-
gonna have them dug in,
Yeah.
they test them, yeah, but somebody's gonna do
But
it
that's
for
less than
them.
2K a hole,
Yeah.
which strikes me as Probably costs more than that, doesn't it?
I don't know, well, see,
I don't know, but how many days does that hole have to be open? Pardon?
If they vector the holes, it'd be very inexpensive.
Okay.
Small hole, you go straight down.
no, you're right, there's, you know,
But they have to find the pipe, right? So
That's the easy part.
that's the easy part, okay.
this is an assessment, correct? And if, I mean, it's likely that we'll have to do some stuff after they do this, but if they don't have to do something, you know, as a result of this, we don't have to do it? Is that correct?
So with this, it's likely that, if we find that these pipes are in poor condition, we'll come back with a design.
But if they're all great, then you won't have to,
Yeah.
which is unlikely, but still, okay, I'm just checking.
The other point is that they'll also help us with scheduling and looking at, an implementation plan in conjunction with the city's project.
Over the next couple of years.
So I have one more question, given what Glenn just said. Is looking at the pipe from the outside good enough?
Their scope involves verifying confirming the size and material, and not, so we're not, that doesn't necessarily involve any significant evaluation of the pipe. I'd say in this case, a conservative approach is, with 60-year-old pipelines, is
Assuming you're gonna have to.
is to replace them.
Right.
We're not going to, this whole thing is a conservative approach that will avoid having a serious problem on Highway 1. We don't want to impact traffic on Highway 1 with a pipe break, so.
Then, following up on Jim's
Yeah.
question, and why even do this analysis if we know the answer? The answer is they're probably not in good shape.
Well,
Why
we-
pay $45K and not just go forward and say we're gonna have to deal with this and go for the engineering design of making the change? Now that he mentions it, and you're saying 60-year-old pipe, and I would agree that it's probably pretty damn old. And,
I think if we dig down and find ductile iron wrapped in plastic, we'll leave it alone.
okay, but we know we don't.
So,
All right.
this is a really expensive project, and if a little bit of potholing, if 20,000 worth of potholing can inform the design a little bit
Okay.
better, I think it's worth it.
And I will say that the other, there are 4 parts to this, and the 3 parts would need to be done anyway in the design. So this is just,
Oh, yeah?
because they're going to be mapping the utilities and looking at what they're going to be doing on the Jack and War
Okay.
part of this, and coordinating with the city. So we need to understand, for example, if we need to do this before the city does their work, or if we can, or during or after, and, because, there could be a possibility of us, depending on where this is, to maybe postpone the work until a few years down the road, but we need to understand, what the scheduling should be. We know that there's going to be in the project some retaining walls, or, with the, and so, we want to make sure that our utilities aren't in the way of some of these things, so.
You're saying half this money would have been for the
Would
3
be in
of the
the
4
design.
things anyway?
Yeah.
And while we're there, we might as well just verify what we've got. I mean, it seems like a reasonable thing, but we understand, we've got to do some of this anyway. Okay.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Sure.
Sure, I'll second it.
That's been moved by Vice President Michelson, seconded by
That's fine.
Director Reynolds, that we authorize the general manager to retain the professional services of EKI Environment and Water for pre-design services for replacement of water lines at Grandview Boulevard, Silver Avenue, Terrace Avenue, and Spindrift Way under Highway 1 in the not-to-exceed amount of $45,600. Could you please
Sure can.
take the roll vote?
Director Larmer.
Yes.
Vice President Michelson. Director Feldman.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yep.
And President Coverdale.
Yes. Thank you very much. So item B is to contract with Balance Hydrologics for the Denison San Vicente stream gauging, groundwater monitoring, and data analysis. And are you taking this one away again?
Yes.
Great.
So since our water year 2011, we have engaged Balance Hydrologics to be engaging 5 sites on our streams for Denison and San Vicente. And we've been collecting the data, and this data is something that we need to be able to, to validate, to perfect our water rights. This is an annual cost for gauging for $97,000. Last year's was 105, so we're, it's not quite the, it's a little bit of a savings.
A reduction.
But it's their continued work and their analysis. So we feel this is, important to continue, and because we're getting this base of data.
So we've been doing this since 2011?
Yes.
So each year is approximately this amount that we've spent? So that's 9 times, 8, 7 times.
900,000.
900K. So I assume we're putting this money, we're investing this because we believe going forward that we will be doing some productive work at San Vicente in terms of
Someday.
executing our rights and using the water in some manner. Does that make sense? I'm just
Yes.
asking. Okay. Because it's been a while and it continues to go, and we now have to go to 2026, I believe, is the next round of.
Assuming they
They approve.
approve
And we
our
assume
permit
they'll
as
approve,
we
'cause-
understand, as it's been
Okay, I'm
drafted.
just checking.
This came up in the facilities committee meeting. We discussed this, and one of the things that convinced me that we should vote yes on this was the issue of credibility. I mean, we could do this ourselves, but then if that data became part of an issue of whether or not we could perfect those water rights, by having a third party do it, we can't be accused of self-serving, because these guys are professionals, their reputation's at stake, they're licensed to do this. And so I thought it's an expensive way to be bulletproof in that respect, but it seems to me to be wise if we hope to someday be able to perfect our water rights there.
Well, given our philosophy or approach to using local water is one of our key long-term goals. The need to continue this, to make that a reality at some point in the future is obviously something we have to continue to pursue. Hopefully it will pay off for us by giving us more local sources in the future.
Good science yields permits.
Right, no, I'm.
We hope.
just-
Yeah, I mean.
Not always.
Yeah, but we'd be remiss in not doing it, so I absolutely agree.
I'll make a motion that we approve. Sorry.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Director Reynolds, seconded by Vice President Michelson, that we authorize the general manager to enter into a contract with Balance Hydrologics for water year 2020 for stream gauging, groundwater monitoring, and data analysis for the Denison Creek and the San Vicente Creek watersheds for an estimated time and materials cost of $96,935. Could you please
I'm busy today.
take the vote?
Director Larmer?
Yes.
Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds? And President Coverdale?
Yes, thank you very much. The next item is the Denison Water Treatment Plant and Pump Station Standby Generators Project Procurement of Equipment. James,
Good evening.
welcome, nice tie.
Thank you. Back in March 2019, the board approved a design contract with TJC and Associates for design for the installation of emergency generators at Denison Treatment Plant and the pump station, along with automatic transfer switches. As part of that work, they wrote up a procurement spec so that we could order the generators and ATSs without having to pay the markup ahead of time, and then we could go out to bid later. So this is the point that we're at where we need to purchase the equipment. We want to go with the Cummins West generator own-and model, which is what we have at all the other sites, so that we're consistent with our repair and service contract, that we don't have to have different people out to service these. And we went through Sourcewell, which is formerly the National Joint Powers Authority that serves government agencies with competitive bidding. So it's a free service. There's also another one called Omnia Partners, where we basically have our procurement done by a large government agency, and we don't have to go through all the rigmarole of getting competitive pricing. Especially if you're going sole source with equipment, that really helps. And we got some pricing from Cummins direct, and then we went and asked for the Sourcewell pricing, came down $5,000. So that was nice, and that was the best price we could get. So we're separately going to go to bid for the installation at a later date, but it's about 12 to 16 weeks to procure the equipment, so we'd like to order it now. And the not-to-exceed amount that we're requesting is $213,000 for a 150 and an ATS, and another 250 for the pump station and an automatic transfer switch. If you have any questions, I'm
What
here to
kind of
answer.
fuel, are these
Diesel.
diesel?
Sorry for
And
not
is there
clarifying.
already diesel on site?
No, but we have a diesel tank up at Nunez, and we have a transfer tank on one of the trucks, and we call in for delivery,
Oh, I see,
and there'll be self-contained belly tanks at these.
nice.
What, the Sourcewell operation? Well,
Pardon me?
Sourcewell, the people that do the bidding, the joint powers agreement.
Yeah, it's essentially a
What-
government
what-
agency that goes out to bid for you.
They
So
do
they
the
do-
bids
they-
for you.
They do an RFP for generators, and then they have a committee. If you look at the attachment,
Yeah, I was gonna ask
behind
you.
the bid,
The
attachment
attachment,
B.
is that a sample attachment, or is that the one for
That's
us?
actually for these contracts that they did with Cummins and Caterpillar and also Kohler. And then they rate them on the pricing and service, and then they basically contract at that discounted price.
And we pay Sourcewell something for this?
We don't pay them anything. The vendors that sell their equipment and
So There's
services
sort of an oversight.
will pay a percentage of their revenue from this program.
Wow.
It's a really nice way
No,
to,
I haven't seen this, anything of this nature before. Where
Yeah,
it
I
was
was kind
done by,
of wondering about it myself,
Huh, yeah,
how it worked, yeah.
yeah. And the thing
Basically
that,
pre-bid.
but the attachment's what threw me off. This was
Yeah.
2017. It wouldn't seem like it was associated with us. This was a thing they do with these vendors to get
Yes.
the pricing, and then when you ask them to do something for us, they then present
exactly.
the
You-
best
you-
deal.
Yeah, so we call Cummins and say we'd like the Sourcewell price, the contract
Ah,
price.
okay, see, so they've already set up this table of pricing with these guys. Okay.
Exactly.
And there's no charge for
Changes
this.
hands in brown bags and.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Like Herc Rentals is part of Omnia Partners, which is formerly called U.S. Communities, very similar arrangement. It's free for public agencies
Okay.
and
No, I
funded
just-
through
I've
the
never
the
done
business
it.
they do.
We don't usually do this with other bids we do, or RFPs, et cetera. Interesting. Makes it easier. Do we give Sourcewell anything regarding our requirements when they make their recommendation to do this?
We had a procurement spec
Oh, you have.
through
the spec.
TJC,
Okay.
and then I sent that right to Cummins
They
and
use
said,
that to do this.
give us the Sourcewell
Okay, gotcha.
pricing.
Okay.
And we
Sounds
didn't
like
stop
a-
there, we confirmed it, and it
Sounds
came
like
down another
a
5,000 once
better
we
way
got the
to
right people.
have to deal with this stuff.
Yeah, and James brings a lot to the table.
No, it's
doesn't
great.
he?
No, it's
tried.
good. Good idea.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Appreciate
Certainly.
the effort. Discussion, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve it.
Other than the need for these backup units, it seems even more appropriate
no kidding.
these days.
Timing couldn't be more
than it
perfect,
did
unless it was last year.
2 weeks ago, that's for sure.
Yes,
That's for sure.
very, very real need.
Very real needs for,
That's a good question, though. How long will it take to get this? Because I know with the next step is we gotta get it installed. What do you think, when do you think these will be operational?
Spring, early summer.
okay.
Keep praying for rain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We won't have to
But
deal
not
with
too early, we're
the-
still doing
the
pillar
power
cedos.
failures.
So we want it to
Yeah.
not rain for a little bit.
Well, I understand, but we don't want a fire
No, he
either.
means for
Right.
fire.
Because PG&E will
Hopefully
crash this
before,
thing. Crash
before
the
next
party.
October anyway. right?
Yes.
Gonna be really expensive.
Okay.
So it's been moved by Director Reynolds and seconded by Director Larimer that we authorize the general manager to purchase 2 standby generators with automatic transfer switches for the Denniston Water Treatment Plant and booster pump station for a not to exceed amount of $213,000. Could you
Okay.
please,
Sure.
Take
Director
the vote.
Larmer?
Yes.
Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds?
Yes.
And President Overall.
yes, thank you. Next item on our list is approval of professional services agreement with Calcon Systems, Inc. for SCADA hardware replacement and software update. And James is, oh, great.
I take it again. So the different sites that we have, Crystal Springs, Denniston, Nunez, and the main office, due to the distributed architecture, we have to have software running at each site to collect and alarm us when conditions prove that we need to pay attention or go respond to an emergency. The computers are quite old, the software's out of date, and we need to replace the boxes, the PCs and the operating system to upgrade. So we're looking to upgrade to new hardware and new software that will get us better prepared for updating the software in the future. And we're looking at a 3 to 5 year replacement for the boxes in the future. And this will help us respond to emergencies and monitor the water system at a higher level. And will also protect our security of our SCADA system as well. We want to hire Calcon because they've been doing such great work, and when I saw the price, I was actually quite surprised at the good price that they're giving us because we've negotiated a good discount with them.
Questions, comments?
I'm just curious how hacker-proof this system is.
Very. Very.
Is it considered one of the better ones in the industry, or?
Well, I don't think it's actually the software, that's more of your firewall. I'm not an
Yeah,
IT
yeah.
person, but
Well, that is the software.
Irvine's going to be helping us with, or does maintain our firewall and our protection of our SCADA computers and the network.
So take at least a 14-year-old, not a 12-year-old.
So Catherine,
It takes a Russian expert.
are you doing the voiceover for this? Because it says the voice notification, English female Catherine.
Well, my name's Kathleen.
Oh, so you got out of it. You don't have to come in and do voice vocal exercises and then record.
Right.
Okay.
They would find it very annoying if my.
James, get out of bed! James, go fix the plant! James is broken again! These minor details.
The voice
Catherine,
activate,
Kathleen,
what
somebody
is
with
it
a K.
broadcast on, your phone? or-
It enunciates when it calls you, and also at the local
No,
computer.
I mean
you can hear
that,
it.
when something goes awry, it calls you automatically, this little guy?
It calls the on-call operator, and if
And
that
and it
person,
voices, it gives them a voice message, it
Yes.
enunciates what, oh,
what the alarm condition is and
like a,
what time.
a smart ceiling,
where.
huh?
So
Um,
is Calcon providing the firewall, or is somebody else providing the firewall?
Calcon is doing the software and the hardware, and then Irvine is handling the firewall.
Irvine is our local.
Local, no,
Years,
they're our computer guys,
for years.
IT.
Okay.
At least 20.
Uh,
For years.
I've been here.
Rathborn hired him.
Right.
Started with Rathborn. Long time ago.
Calcon, as per our consent calendar item, has a large shopping list of things they've done for us. Last year, like almost $1 million. Does this one get added to the this year open projects list?
Yes.
It's not on there, it wasn't on last week, this last month. So it will get added on to that. Okay, I see. So we add them on as
Yes, we can.
as they come up, and we agree to them. We don't have a proposed list of things they'll be doing beyond that.
We have ongoing maintenance that we do, you know, with Calcon, so they'll do work on our distribution system and Nunez and Denniston, but,
No, all I'm saying is the other maintenance, I see.
Yeah.
And we have an estimate, an approximate estimate on that sheet too. Okay, so this one gets added as a project, and the other things are there because we know we're gonna have to do them, and as they're done, they get to be completed and a new list comes up with completions on. Okay, you just changed this.
right.
You changed that report. Okay, gotcha, thanks.
So we're looking for authorization for $104,000 for 4 sites.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved by Director Reynolds, seconded by Director Feldman, that we authorize general manager to execute a professional services agreement with Calcon Systems, Inc. for the replacement of Nunes, Denison, Crystal Springs Pump Station, and Main Street Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, SCADA, computers with updated SCADA software for a not-to-exceed amount of $104,000. Could you take the vote, please?
Director Larmer?
Yes.
Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds?
Yep.
And President Coverdell?
Yes. And this is timely, right before the rains might come, which we're not hoping are coming too soon. The subject is the award of contract with American Eagle Roofing and Sheet Metal, Inc. for 766 Main Street, this roof replacement, and the award of contract with Falco Construction Company for general contracting services and fascia board and gutter replacement. James?
So this building that we're sitting in was built in 1974. It's never had a complete roof replacement. We've had lots of repairs. We do have a slight leak back in the utility room that acts up every winter, and we've tried to repair it several times. So we've had some roofing contractors come out and do an evaluation. It's time to replace the roof. It is not going to include the clay tiles up top. Those are all intact. So all the flat roofing will be replaced. Darren helped get bids. It was not easy to get roofing contractors to even call us back. It was a lot of work. So for the roofing part, we got 3 bids. American Eagle and Sheet Metal, Inc. came in at $42,000, and that's a complete tear-off of the existing roofing. And then we looked around for fascia board replacement, which isn't just the 2x12 that surrounds the building. It's actually the plywood behind it, the venting underneath, and they need to happen at the same time due to the flashing that goes on the roof.
Wow.
So we looked around for fascia bids, and we could only get 1 bid. So we only had 1 responsive bidder, and that was from Falco Construction, was the only responsive bidder on that. It's $68,160. Part of that contract is to have Falco inspect and manage the roofing contractors, because Darren and I are not roofers. So we need some extra eyes on that to talk about any changes or additions and to make sure that these go together seamlessly.
Who is the principal at Falco?
Brian Falvey.
Oh, okay, it is Brian Falvey. Okay, I was guessing, but I wasn't sure. Okay.
He's a great contractor. Yeah, he does a
They do a lot of work in my area.
Yeah.
Lots for the Ritz to do. They're pretty good.
So it's time to replace the roof and the fascia board, and we're looking for $42,000 for the roof, $68,160 for the fascia board, total of $110,160 to get this work done.
So, sorry, a quick question. It says labor for fascia repair. There's a difference in repair and replacement.
It's total replacement.
It's total replacement.
Okay, that's what that's what I would like to see. Okay, perfect, all right, fine.
The attachment B actually says remove and replace.
Okay,
Yeah, that's it.
well, I see labor for fascia, it just says repair, remove and replace wood around fascia. Then it says labor for fascia repair, so it's a little squirrely. Okay, but yeah, if it's total replacement, I'm good.
Including the downspouts.
Good, okay.
Have we considered a new color, or, I mean, they're gonna paint it, right? Have we looked at the aesthetics of the building and?
Facilities committee could take that
Yeah,
up.
we need to.
We'll bring a color palette.
I haven't had the 40-hour course, I can't do it.
Any other
Job for
comments
the
or?
Facilities
motion?
committee.
I'll make a motion that we approve this contract.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Director Reynolds, seconded by Director Larimer, that we authorize the general manager to contract with American Eagle Roofing and Sheet Metal, Inc. for a roof replacement for not to exceed amount of $42,000. Also to authorize the general manager to contract with Falco Construction Company for general contracting services and fascia board and gutter replacement and paint for a not to exceed amount of $68,160. Total of both contracts will be approximately $110,160. Could you take the
I
vote,
sure
please?
can.
Thanks, Gene.
Director Larmer?
Yes.
Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director
Yes.
Reynolds? And President Coverdell?
Yes, thank you very much.
When would they
next.
finish?
One more.
Yeah.
When would they,
This is the fun one. I'm glad you're still up there.
when would they do this?
Pardon me?
When will they do this roofing?
As soon as possible.
Okay, before the rain?
Soon, yeah, as soon as we got a good weather
ASAP?
week and they'll take care of it.
You know the California method to guarantee rain, don't you?
Tear your roof off.
That's exactly correct, every time.
That or start a pipeline job.
Or build a desal plant, that's the other guarantee.
See if he's going to provide tarps just in the event.
Build
The next item is approval of change orders for Ferdinand Avenue Pipeline Project. James, take it away.
So the Ferdinand Avenue Pipeline Project is practically complete, less an ADA ramp and county sign-off on the road. During the project, we had a couple of change orders. One was for some additional potholing to locate a gas main on Carmel and make some adjustments to the alignment there to have clearance between the gas and the sewer, and some compaction testing, which was a little unusual for us, but it got into the contract specs that the district would pay for testing, and I think EKI has typically had cities handle that in the past. So we're going to fix that as we go out for other bids and have the contractor pay for the compaction testing. So rather than be in the middle of the contractor and the testing firm, we wanted the contractor to hire the testing firm, so it was a direct interaction without us stuck in the middle if compaction wasn't being met. So that was a change order number one for a total amount of $12,350. You'll see a detail on attachment A in the back page of attachment A kind of details the potholing and the compaction testing fees. And then there were some quantity changes in terms of pipe length. We added a hydrant instead of a blow-off, and that is also detailed on the front of attachment A. I have to say it was really handy to have Darren on this project. He's been on many of these projects and knows the language and how to negotiate quantities, this time for the district rather than for the contractor. So he was paramount in getting this number down. We would have been fighting quite a bit over almost double this amount if it wasn't for Darren's attention to detail. So I just want to compliment him on that. It is only 8.1% change over the original contract amount of $502,850, bringing it to $843,800. But since it's more than $30,000, we wanted to bring it to the board for approval. If you have any questions, Darren and I are here to answer. All in all, California Trenchless did an outstanding job on this project. Their crew did great.
When will this project
This is
be
one
done?
of many projects.
It's done, just an ADA ramp and
okay.
county sign-off, so all the services are tied in.
One of many projects that have been in design or design's been done by EKI, correct?
Yes. Pardon?
So my question simply is this something that may occur again, or just as a one-off kind of thing that they weren't?
I think
either. There's a lot of things in the pipeline, and change orders are always interesting, and we haven't seen any for quite a long time.
right.
And so this is the first one I've seen for many, many, many months, and I wondered, this is not the beginning of
No, that's an excellent question. Darren and I are going to sit down with EKI after each project, Mary included, and talk about how we could do better. And this is a couple of the check boxes that we need to go over with them in terms of the specs and writing them what works for us. So
Okay, no, I'm just checking, because you don't like surprises, that's not good for us.
unforeseen conditions with underground infrastructure does happen, but we're going to do our best to clean up some of the easy things, which is just quite a small portion of the stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments? Motions?
I'll move.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Director Larimer, seconded by Director Reynolds, so we approve the change orders for the Ferdinand Avenue Pipeline Project. And I'd like to make a comment that I can't stand change orders. So I would really appreciate some effort to make sure that we don't have change orders. In fact, we've had a couple discussions with the EKI in the past, that are not fun. It's never fun to talk about it. And there are things that are understandable. You find another utility line or something that gets mislocated. There are, really things that are obvious changes. But, miscalculations or numbers that aren't in the estimate or the estimate's lower than what it really took. Unless these pipes are going wild, it's just hard to imagine where that comes from. But I appreciate your, working on it and trying to be sure, because if they're the people we're gonna rely on for a long time, we really don't want to be in building a habit.
We agree 100%.
I mean, really, so.
Thank you.
That's not a criticism
I understand.
on my part, but it's something I think is really serious. And sorry to interlude, but if you could take the vote, please.
Let's see, Director Larimer.
But yes.
Vice President Michelson.
Yes.
Director Feldman.
Yes.
Director Reynolds.
Yes.
And President Coverdell.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks, James.
I'll be back.
That was really great. James, you want to go ahead and keep going, or?
No, I'm gonna rest my legs.
Okay, cool. You got it. And now, what we've all been waiting for, the quarterly financial review, and I'm assuming that our numbers expert in-house will be generating that.
Yeah. So we're 1 quarter into the year, and so we're generally tracking to our budget, with some timing differences. We have a few things. First, we had an ERAF payment from the county, and generally, we always receive those payments in January. And this year, they've moved it where we get some of the money in August and some in January. So we have a timing difference there in terms of our revenue. So, and then in our expenses, we're 12,000 under budget. Now, that's partly due to we have CalPERS lowered our amount that we pay in for our unfunded liability. And that's one's kind of a situation. We have the liability, it will go up, the payment will go up next year. It's just they move it around between years. So we had a savings on that, but we did have the our payments to, EKI, our engineering costs were 32,000, more than what we had in the budget because of our EKI contract to help us manage our capital program. So, but all in all, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with where we're at from a revenue and expense perspective. Where water is pretty much tracking to what we used last year, and I think one of the things that we're seeing with our Water Smart program and our employee Vicky calling up our customers, I think she's contacted over 1,000 customers and and help them manage leaks. So you're actually
It's counterproductive.
it's a little bit, so we see a little impact on our revenue, but it's good for our customers. Our customers really love us for that, so. And Kathleen likes it too. So with our CIP, with 1 quarter in, we've spent about 1.4 million. And that includes our Ferdinand project and our Bell Moon and our hydrant purchases. We are, so if we're, looking at our capital right now, what you've approved and we have in process totals about 3.7 million, including this 1.4. And then tonight you just approved another 800. So we're on track for about 4.5 million, and there will be more projects coming up, for approval this year. We had budgeted for this year about 5 million, and last year we actually didn't spend 2 million, so we had a carryover of 2 million. So we are making progress in spending, our CIP. So I don't know if you have any questions on that, but I think it's good news for us.
Questions, input?
The Chase Bank loan was paid.
That was paid off last year.
No, the Chase Bank loan, I saw a charge here which was Actual charge, there was no budget for it, though, I'm sure. Was it
Yeah.
supposed to pay during a different month?
No, that is, actually, if you're,
Capital account.
the capital account, you're just seeing a change from the, between, we had, last year we paid off the bonds.
Right.
And so then we made the payments
Right.
for the Chase. So this is, realize this was the budget that was put together 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So,
mean,
we
it's
didn't.
Not a problem, it's just,
Yeah, it's just that we flipped that, we got rid of the bonds and now we pay the Chase
there was no budget for this.
loan, yeah.
Okay, got it.
The one thing with our cash reserves, we have, a little over 9 million in the bank. However, that doesn't include some of the cash payouts for the capital that we've already expended last quarter. So we're paying a lot of those even, as we speak. And so, we will see that our balances drop down because of the capital that, our CIP spend. But you just don't see it quite yet here.
Any kind of a feeling where the capital might end if we're successful in the CIP? What our reserves might look like at the end of this year?
We should, so, our target when a year ago was in the 7 to 8 million range, depending on our spend. And it did have timing differences. So,
Right.
so we may, if we, depending on if we truly do spend, 5.5, 6 million, we'll likely be down in the, $6 to $7 million level
we
by the end of
predicted.
the year.
Yeah, good. About what we predicted. That'll be great. Yeah. Looks very healthy.
Good shape.
There's really no action on this item,
No.
right? And now it gives me a great satisfaction, I should say, that we bring resolution number 2019-04, which will appoint Mary Rogren as Secretary of the District and also assigning certain duties to her of treasurer. More duties. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Input, comments, motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mary the secretary.
To approve this resolution?
Yeah. Second.
It's been moved by Director Reynolds, seconded by Director Lambert.
Legally certain duties, legal
Yes,
term.
yes. I'm
I'm just asking certain.
I actually put that word in this
Okay, I'm
resolution
just
because we're not
asking.
designating all the duties, but there's certain duties that we're designating, carving some out for the auditor,
Oh, okay, so I just need to know who does the other treasurer duties?
the auditor.
The auditor, so I see. So that's also part of the legal need for the district.
Well, the legal need is to actually, your enabling legislation requires you to designate a secretary and a treasurer,
Right.
unless you have an auditor doing something, then you don't need to appoint a
So
treasurer.
certain duties are being reserved for the auditor. And certain from, okay, just checking.
Correct.
Make sure the word certain just got my attention. Thank you.
Good point. I just made that up, actually. But I looked at the enabling legislation and said, what are we doing here?
That's what you get paid the big bucks for, making it up, right?
That's what we do sometimes. Use our linguistic skills.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I
yes.
guess.
I acclaim.
All right.
That's why we go to law school.
I'm sorry.
So are we all the way ready to vote on this issue? Because
Yeah,
it's been
sure.
moved and seconded. right?
Okay. Director Larimer?
Yes.
Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds?
Yes.
And President Coverdell?
Enthusiastically, thank you. And now, the most exciting part of our evening, our monthly informational reports. And we're going to start with, oh, look who's back, our general manager, David.
It's been a while,
Yeah, where you been?
Well, it's been a while since I had a general manager report, too.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel such a weight lifted now that Mary's the
Yeah,
treasurer.
And it's such a long report. I mean,
Well, when I wrote this, elaborate staff report, I was thinking I would come up with a sentence that summarized the district's past, present, and future, but I didn't do that. I started almost exactly 12 years ago, October 17th or something like that, 2007. And 4 of you were on the board that hired me, so I've had almost, with a few changes between here and there. And, 12 years in some ways seems like a long time, but it's gone so fast. And I realize that some of you have been on the board way longer than that. I mean, you started on the board, I think, when I was in high school, maybe. So you folks go.
I didn't think you were even a glint in your father's eye.
It's gone fast, and I think I've missed 2 board meetings, and I know that there's some of you that probably have missed fewer than that in my 12 years. But I just really want to say that I wish I had started earlier. I mean, I wish I had more of a past with the district. Wish I had started earlier, because this truly has been the best job of my career. I'm so honored and privileged to have worked for this board and for the district and with this amazing staff. And I've come to realize in my time here, I think I've reported to an elected board for a total of almost 19 years. And so I've gotten to kind of know that environment, and I've come to appreciate, particularly here, the role that the board plays in setting the tone for the district. When I first was interviewing for the job, I think it was Ev Asher who said, our goal here is to run a first-class utility. And that's what I wanted to do. That really resonated with me, and I think that this board has remained absolutely committed to that idea, and that's what has made this job so fun. I mean, we have been able to do things that, we've done what we needed to do, and that I don't think there's any better environment for everyone here. And it hasn't been me, it's been a real team effort that starts with the board, I think. But your policies have created an environment that is great for the staff to work in. And I don't know how many times we've said to each other, boy, are we lucky. We look around at some of the other public agencies on the Coastside, and we feel like we live in a bubble here of competence and professionalism and rationality when it comes to how we run the district. And that is what has allowed us to attract and keep the best people. I think we've done a great job of that. You see it around you every day. I've never worked with people who are, just consistently so dedicated and committed and competent and professional. So it really has been a joy. I'm not greatly enthusiastic about stopping, but there has to come a time. Maybe I'm not quite sure what's next, but I hope we'll have a chance to work together in the future. And I just really want to thank you for the opportunity I've had to be your general manager. So with that, I'll let you carry on with your meeting.
Comments?
Well, I want to thank you for helping us achieve Ab's goal of creating our first DOS district. And you've certainly done that by all metrics. You've achieved that home run. So I was here when you were hired. I was one of the 4. I've been here the full 12 years of your term, and I've never seen anything less than 110% from you here. And this is your creation, and I think your role in grooming our successor was spot on. And I think you can sit back and watch it continue to thrive. Thank you.
I think that this is a team effort, but you've carried a really significant part of setting the tone and guiding, shepherding, pointing the team in the right direction. You've done it tactfully, diplomatically, and with confidence. And I would like to compliment you on those skills. And I think it is a reflection of how well this board has done as contrasted to how it could have gone. And you should take the credit. You do take the credit and are to be congratulated for thinking through what you present, why you present it that way, and I think your confidence has enabled us to make greater strides than might otherwise have happened. So I think that you should be very proud of that.
Thank you.
Well, I always, I consider Dave, I've hired a lot of people in my career, in all the illustrious places I've been and people I've worked with, and I think at the end of the day, I think that Dave is probably one of the best hires I've ever made, and that is in the universe of hires. You say again, I've done a lot of them, and I'm really happy that that was the decision we came to 12 years ago. I mean, in retrospect, that was one of the best decisions we've ever made. So, and I can only second what's been said so far, and will continue to be said, that you've really made this place hum. You've been professional and took us to the point where we are a first-class operation, and probably one of the better operations in the business in terms of the community we serve and the things that we've achieved over the 12 years. And time flies, let me tell you, the older you get, the faster it goes. So I'm not so surprised that the 12 years is gone already. It was almost scary when I realized that, Jesus, it's been 12 years, and God is going to get faster and faster. And hopefully our adeptness at hires will continue forward with our new general manager. And we look forward to having the same view as we go forward in the future. And so we thank Dave again for his selection of Mary and his mentoring of her to get her to this point. So all in all, what can you say? You've been the guy that we needed, and you did the job we needed to have done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, you're right that 4 of us were here when you were hired. So 4 of us for sure saw what this district looked like before you were hired. 1 of us way before you were hired. And I'm probably the only person here who had a gap with not being on this board for almost a decade, from the time you were hired until now. And these guys probably can't appreciate it as much as I can, because, you know, it's sort of like aging in the mirror when you get up every morning to shave, as all of us probably do. Well, you don't. You just don't notice yourself getting older. But if you couldn't see yourself in the mirror for a decade, and then it's like looking at your high school picture. You think, my God, I used to look like that? And I've had that experience, and it's pretty amazing. I'm coming back onto this board and then actually touring the facilities. It's an amazing change, and you certainly have realized Ev's wishes for the district. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, my most important comment, I think, is I would like to thank you for your patience and your understanding and your willingness to educate, because I personally feel like I've gained more than I've given in this relationship, because I think your understanding of how to work with people, all people, how to build relationships, how to foster connections with people that were helpful to the district is really something I don't think people see as much as we've gotten to see. You know, the way you've been able to open doors for this water district and keep everyone talking, even when there are people that don't necessarily want to communicate. I think that that's just such a special personality trait. It goes beyond management. It's more personality, it's more humanness. And, you know, when you're interviewing somebody, you ask about the engineering degree, or you try to find out what are your aspirations, or what are your goals, or where do you think you're going to go with a job, or how do you feel you're going to perform, or how did you get educated? But what never really comes out in an interview, in my opinion, is, you know, what's your fortitude like? What's your perseverance? You know, how do you pull things together when it's a bit of a crisis? You know, this place caught on fire, and you moved us in and out of this building.
But Gina did that.
Well, yeah, but why did Gina do it? Gina came here with you from another location, right? You were hired from another job where you guys worked together.
Because I laid her off, yeah.
Did he really? Oh, I'm so sorry I brought that up.
I know, I was hoping that wasn't gonna come up.
Oh my gosh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Okay, well, now we know the truth about
Now we-
you. You're just willing to bounce people and bring them back, I don't know.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, when I think of the things that you've put together here, the group of people that you've put together here, the way you've kept the people here, you know, things have changed a lot in this district. It's a really different place than the place I started working, you know, at or being involved in. And I think that, again, I have learned so much from you. So all I can do is thank you for letting me watch, participate, and just experience the talents that you have. And I just hope you have lots of fun. I hope that you take a lot of time with your beautiful wife and with your family, and I hope you just enjoy relaxing, but I know that you won't. And so we'll be glad to consult with you as long as you're willing. And I appreciate the fact that you hung on with us for 4 more years.
3.5.
Delayed retirement, yeah.
So the delay was really great for us, and your halftime, my goodness, if
Looked
I
good in
could,
the budget.
if I could get the rest of America to work on your halftime schedule, we would be greater than anyone could ever make this nation great. So I just want to tell you thanks, and we're going to miss you, but we're actually incredibly excited, or at least I am, about this person who's really ready to jump into that position and just take it to the next level. So it's wonderful. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, more reports. I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I think Mary, who will soon be an earlier report, is up now.
So I wanted to give, you know, a quick recap of last week's power shutdown. Our team did an amazing job, and really it was a team effort. We found out about the outage last Monday, and we immediately had James and Darren and Sean looking at all the tanks and topping off the tanks, topping off the diesel, understanding how we're going to, you know, maneuver during the power shutoff. Kathleen did a great job with putting out a constant contact to our customers, saying that there is not, you know, we're not going to, you're going to have business, it's going to be business as usual, you'll have water, and we absolutely came through with that. The power went off 11:15 on Wednesday night, and our generators at the office, at Nunes, and various pump stations just automatically and seamlessly turned on. We were still treating water from Pillar Cetus Reservoir. We had didn't have Crystal Springs on because we expected Crystal Springs to go down, but in the morning, we understood that we had power at Crystal Springs. So we immediately turned on Crystal Springs, so we did not miss a beat. And it was a really, really good drill, and it's kind of a tribute to both our staff and I'll say also our facilities. I mean, we had great facilities with all our, with our generators ready to go, as we look to the future, we're going to have Denniston generators, and I think, one of the other key projects that we're working on, starting next week, is the replacement of the pipeline up at Palacios Canyon. And so we're going to be able to get a lot more water out of the reservoir. Gravity fed, we can operate in a power shutdown. So it really was good. It was good exercise. I think there was a few learnings along the way, learning moments. But we were just more prepared for an emergency or another power shutdown. So, James, I don't know if you want to add anything about that.
Sure, it was much better than tabletop exercise because it's real. It's hard to take those tabletop exercises seriously. You try, but it's so made up that you're not under the real pressure that Darren and I and Mary and Dave were under, as well as Sean. And we learned a lot about each other and our infrastructure, and it was really nice to be confident those generators going to start when they needed to start, and that staff was in 100% of doing whatever we needed while we were getting prepared and through the night after the power went out. I think it was a great stress test for the team and our infrastructure, and we learned a lot about communication with the PUC. We learned a lot about communication with staff. It was a great learning experience for us. It wasn't fun, but it was a great learning experience for sure.
How much diesel fuel do we have at plants?
At Nunes?
Yeah.
1,000? 600 gallons. Excuse
How
me.
long does that last? I mean, just trying to get an understanding of how long will that power the plant for?
That's a good question. I'd say, a week at Nunes?
Just Nunes probably powered for almost 15 to 18 days.
Oh, really?
It's also our day tank for filling up other equipment.
Correct.
Oh, 600 gallons will do that?
Yeah, so we,
Really?
The load's not really heavy at Nunes.
Okay, so.
For example, like the generators I was just talking about, Denniston generator is going to be a 150. The pump station takes more power.
I see.
So,
Okay.
and
So
then
we
we
have
also reached
sufficient.
out to Andrini, and Andrini has 20,000 gallons of diesel, and being a good neighbor, they said, you need fuel, you can come.
Oh, okay, so we have a source close by if in fact
Right.
we were ever in the position where the diesel was exhausted. I'm just, we have a good supply, we can get it there.
We do.
quickly. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. That's the key part of this whole equation is that diesel fuel. It would seem to me, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions? I think it's a real tribute to the Water District. I mean, I think the condition of preparedness is fantastic. And, to think that people were able to, not worry about water in the middle of that. People were so panicked. I couldn't believe the texting and the emails and the, oh my goodness, and, lines at the gas station and, just craziness in the grocery stores, people with, carts full of ice and water and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's, you add water to that concern and imagine the panic in the community. I think you just really deserve all accolades and thank you from the whole community for being that well prepared. It's just fantastic. And I'm so impressed by that. Yeah, terrific. And more, Mary, on your report?
No, that's it.
Okay. Oh, good, James, I think you're back. How are your legs?
More to it than just power outages.
Yes.
It's been another busy month. We got the new backhoe. It's out back. I don't know if you guys noticed it driving by. It's a nice piece of equipment. Darren was very helpful getting a nice backhoe that everyone could use for a nice long time. We traded in the old one. Everything went very smoothly. All the MTUs are installed. We're very happy to say that again. All the hydrants that we ordered, Big lot of 100 hydrants are all in. We've already started installing them. You'll see a list there. We installed 5 last month. The John Deere 210 loader that we keep out at Denniston for loading materials and for backup for emergencies. We got that painted, looks nice. Also got some forklift attachments so that the staff at the Denniston treatment plant can unload salt and other equipment when a forklift's needed. So there are attachments that go on the bucket. That came out very nice. The dump truck is back from painting. We also put a high lift gate on it so that it's not a hazard for staff having to climb in the dump truck while it's at an angle to get things cleared out of the chute. The back actually comes, the tailgate actually lifts up out of the way, so it's a much safer operation, and I have to, you know, compliment Dave and his willingness to spend money on staff safety. So it's a really nice, nice improvement, and that was Darren's suggestion, and I want to compliment him on that as well. Treatment staff replaced some lights at Nunez and also the parking lot. They look great. Almost looks like a museum lit up at night, the filters, so we'll have to share a picture of the filters lit up at night. And it's really nice if you're out there in the middle of the night and you need to see what's going on with the filters and that we got power. So we had a few leaks last month. 4 of these, the lower 4 on the list, were all plastic services. Past practice in the district many years ago was if there was a leak near the angle stop at the meter, they would put in a piece of copper. So when you go to inventory these for replacement to see if they're plastic, you dig in the meter box, you see a piece of copper, but it's really plastic all the way back. So we no longer splice in copper. When we have a service like that, we replace the whole thing with a new piece of copper. So that's part of the reason we're still seeing plastic rear its head. And then we had a hydrant valve out in Spyglass pop off due to carbon steel bolts. They weren't stainless. So when we catch up, we're going to go and try to do some non-intrusive testing to see how many more have carbon steel bolts. I think we had this many years ago in Miramar.
Wow.
But the staff showed up 3 a.m. Water was back on by, I think, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock the next day. They did fantastic.
Wow.
Source supply, September, Denniston Reservoir Wells, Pillarcito Lake, Crystal Springs. Projects, most exciting one to pretty much announced ever is the Pillarcito Stone Dam pipeline starting on Monday. Darren and I and Mary and Dave worked really hard getting through all the PUC requirements. The PUC staff has been very helpful and very supportive of us doing this project. So we're looking forward to getting that done and reporting to you more next month.
About how long will it take?
What do you think, a month? PUC side? 4 to 6 weeks. The goal is to get out of the PUC territory and down to our side of the watershed if we can. But we can't really direct the contractor to do one thing or the other, so
Yeah,
a month and a half.
I'm thinking of walking up, checking it out.
You let us know, we'd be happy to bring some board members up there, if that's okay with management. Bispo Road pipeline extension for the new firehouse in El Granada is complete. They still need to replace their DCDA in the front and county sign off on the road. I saw something on Nextdoor about the delays. That is not because of us. I just want to reassure you guys.
It's not a credible news source.
It's not us. Bell Moon pipeline replacement will be complete by the end of the month. Casa Del Mar PRV project. The 3 PRV vaults are now in. Sterlowski's calling on his USA, and hopefully he will start in the next 2 weeks. Everything goes well with Caltrans and traffic control plans and whatnot. Ferdinand Pipeline replacement project is complete, other than the ADA ramp and county sign-off. We dredged Denison last week. We got the small spillway weir gate installed. There's a small spillway where there's stop logs that staff has to reach down and pull out during storms or right before a storm. This is an adjustable one that slides down and will be a much more accurate adjustment of the reservoir level. That's usually how we adjust the reservoir level there. So that's a nice improvement. The dredging went really nicely, and it was, you know, during the power outage, we're like, great, of course Deniston's off. Didn't have generators anyway, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. But there was a lot happening last week, so it was a good test for all of us. And I also like to congratulate Dave in your retirement, and thank you. I thought some of the words you guys used were really nice. Tact, diplomacy, confidence, and patience. Really says a lot about Dave and his approach. I've learned a lot from you in the last couple of years, and I really have to compliment you on your selection of a successor. Mary Rogren's one of the hardest working GMs I've ever met. AGMs, soon to be GM. And I really appreciate her tenacity to get in there and get things done and ask questions when needed. So, Dave, we're in great shape. You've created a tremendous legacy for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to you riding your bike and paying your water bill.
Yeah, which by the way, is passed too.
I know he's on auto. We're canceling.
Welcome back from Italy, you're in collection.
Turn his water off.
Kathleen, thank you very much.
No problem. Our water loss audit for fiscal year 2019 was submitted to the state. And we have just a little brief summary of what was included in the water loss audit. It's similar to a financial audit, only we're counting water drops instead of dollars and cents. So there's actually a lot of backup material. It took an interview with the validator to go over all the materials submitted and the information to get the validation, but it all went smoothly, and so we wait to hear back from the state once they have a chance to review it. And then we've ended the water year for 2019. So it started on October 1st of 2018 and goes through September 30th of 2019. So I included a summary precipitation chart, so kind of with historical numbers back to the about 1949, 1951. And so this 2019 water year, we had normal amounts of precipitation of about 25 inches, and that's within Half Moon Bay. And we don't have the data yet from San Francisco about the regional water system, but I can assume that it's all good news, and we'll get it probably next month, that summary. So, if there's any questions?
The audit, water loss audit, does the Department of Water Resources sends a confirmation, does that say meets specs, done well, like a normal audit? Does it say something about no questions? You have to understand when they say the audit, they say.
It basically meets California Water Code.
Okay.
What you were supposed to, that's as far as they go. So they don't give you any more information about the data other than we met the basic requirements for the
So
submittal.
you say we met the specs, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might not hear back for another year. There's about over 400 agencies that have to submit this.
We
and
got
there's-
it, and we're going to look into it.
Yeah, and there's one person, assigned to review them all, so it takes a while.
Wow. And is 2.8% non-revenue water as percent of operating system, is that good, bad? How do we,
Yeah,
where do we
that's-
fall in the bell curve? Are we C+ or A-?
We are performing, so on a national level, we are performing better than average. The California, we're probably slightly better than average as far as water loss goes, for real and then the apparent water losses. So we're doing well. Of course, there's always areas that we can improve on, as with everything. But these statistics show that we're doing well as an agency.
When you say apparent and real, could you put that into simple language for a simple person?
Yeah, so a real loss is an actual, like, you see the water bubbling up in the street and we have to go out there and fix it. Apparent losses are attributed to billing errors or a meter that fails, and so we aren't capturing the water that's going to that customer. So those are considered apparent losses. And with this new methodology that they're trying to get all the agencies to use and implement and across the whole nation and even globally, though they're trying to get away from using the word percent losses and going to, real losses and apparent losses and non-revenue water. So all the water that we don't get reimbursed for is considered non-revenue water. So the whole terminology for water loss is changing. So it's a whole new nomenclature we'll have to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like with horticulture, when the neighborhood learns the name of the plant, then
Yeah.
we change the name so that,
Well, the common name or
no, the botanical name, of
Botanical,
course.
yeah.
Make it as complicated as possible.
Right, yeah.
Oh, great, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thanks. Well, Director Reynolds, I think you had an item for us, Director Agenda items, or requests for future board meetings.
I just wanted to update. I applied for a $25,000 loan for us to get assistance on our source water stability. And it's just, there was no harm in doing it, and we don't have to take the assistance if the board didn't agree to it. But if we didn't put our name in the ring, we wouldn't be eligible.
What now?
For what, yeah, right.
So we talked a couple board meetings back about working on looking at our source water sources and options. And I got an email saying, hey, do you want professional assistance with this? And we have 250 hours of technical assistance. I think they say the equivalent is $28,000 worth. And you have to be a public agency, which we are. You have to have a member on the Water Now Alliance board, which we do. And you have to fill out these 30 or 40 questions. I did. Clicked submit. I have no idea how competitive it is and how hard it is to do it.
But it's a loan, not a grant.
No, it's free. It's a gift. It's a gift. It's a no cost to us, not reimbursed award. If we win, we haven't won. I just don't.
So it's okay. At first, I thought you said loan.
No.
Oh, it's like-
No, it's
Who is
not.
it from?
So it's called the Water Now Alliance, which is a privately funded organization that is promoting conservation and water viability in the United States.
And they're local.
Well, the headquarters is in San Francisco, the Bay Area, but the funding is from the Sam, Sam, the Walmart founder. Walton, yeah.
Well, it's the Walton Foundation money.
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly, yep.
All right, yeah, no, that helps knowing the source and strings attached. Or,
Yeah, so right now we've just merely submitted, we're in the ring. And-
no, that makes it much more clear.
Yeah.
I heard her talk at the Commonwealth Club, I guess maybe a year and a half ago or something like that. It's kind of impressive. I saw the email. I'm on their email list. I guess you must be too. I wasn't sure, what exactly we might get from this.
So from a business perspective, maybe, is this something that we as a board have to make any decisions on? I don't know, from a legal perspective, et cetera. Are we allowed to go off and or any of us go find money without bringing in our staff?
I'm hearing about this for the first time, so I don't
I
know.
just-
I mean, I'm familiar with Water Now Alliance. I know who they are, and I know some of the players in there. And I don't know what Director Reynolds did and how involved staff was.
I-
And But the district itself can apply for grants and loans and.
No, I understand. No, I'm just trying, is this a?
Well,
is there
better than
anything-
him spending $25,000 for it.
And I assume that if we got, sometimes the granting agencies require a board resolution to apply. I mean, those will come to the board, and if there's some sort of an agreement, that would need to come to the
Okay, I
board
just
as
wanna
well.
be sure
But
we're-
I don't know much about this
This one came
or anything about
across
this.
more as a do you want to be considered application. And so my thought was, there's no penalty clause, no obligation, and we're not committed to anything. But we haven't been excluded, and that was the part I liked.
Well, it would seem to me if we do get to be up further along, that support the board would,
So it would be-
staff would have to be involved
Yeah,
in doing
future-
whatever was
future
required
agenda
for us to go for the,
Future agenda item.
okay?
Yeah, so if they respond, then we'll agendize it.
Okay, that's
discuss
good. No,
it,
no, it's
see if
fine.
we're
I just
interested.
want to be sure we're
Make
on the
sure
same
that
page here.
Our general manager thinks it'd be really a great idea to
Right.
see if the committees and
So they
everybody
have a
wants to get-
conference, didn't I send you guys a notice about their conference?
No, I mean, it's, free money's always good, but just be sure.
Well,
One other thing, I'll throw in one other tiny little comment.
Yeah, what else you been doing in your spare time?
So I was really startled to read a report that, you guys probably saw it, it's in the national news, that they monitored approximately 600 to 800 wells, and it's not completely clear whether it was 600 or 800. I saw 2 reports of it. And 50% of them came back with PFOS and PFAS, which is the perpetual plastic chemical. And one of the things that I thought would be important for our community to know is that we aren't so much relying on well water that might be subjected to this chemical pollutant. I think that our team will want to watch this closely and make sure that this won't increase our cost of doing business, even though it doesn't look to me like this is going to be a significant impact to us, but boy, it's going to hit some other water utilities really hard. And I anticipate the state of California throwing a fair bit more monitoring on it. And the big issue is PFOS and PFAS at this time doesn't have reasonable or easy treatment routes for it, which is of course incredibly troubling. I'm optimistic, but right now it looks very burdensome to a lot of our California water utilities, our neighbors, but we look okay from what I'm seeing, so. Good time to retire, Dave. Yep.
it's my honor to adjourn the October 15th, 2019 meeting, Coastside County Water District Board of Directors at 8:27 3/4.
It's last meeting as GM.
Congrats. Last meeting.
Yeah.